dear?
A busy lunchtime.
Sorry?
Busy lunchtime.
Yeah. All right, so, there's supposed to be an advertisement,
Today's show will be brought to you by the advertisement blank.
but no advertisement.
No advertisement. No us either.
All right. No, there isn't an us. But there's our... Oh, there we are.
No advertisement.
Okay, so we're streaming and it's still 12:59, so we're not due to be live yet. So just wait for the seconds to tick over. Well, I'm pedantic when it comes to...
9.
Actually, the phone doesn't have a seconds display like that. I should put up a stopwatch.
Stopwatch,
Yeah. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Hello everyone, I'm Brook. This is Margaret and Linda. We're from Desolate Spectre Studios and Stickmen Media. And for those of you joining us for the first time, we are streaming the development of our zombie survival game After the Light. Today, despite what was announced yesterday, because this is real life and things don't always go according to plan, we are talking about rigging. So this is the thing you need to do before you can actually start animating your character.
It immediately makes me think of a funny old Sex Pistols song, but anyway.
Do tell. Okay.
We should play it as a theme.
Great content, huh? You hear about a story that you're never going to know about. Okay.
I thought you would know. I just thought you would know. Fine.
All right. So we're looking at a blank background at the moment. So I suppose I should start that movie. And
Have you speed up?
yes, I have speeded it up, so it'll take an hour all through. So
Oh, that's good.
you've got to talk really, really fast about everything. So here we go. Let me know if you need to pause it for any reason.
I like that speed.
Okay, so this is King Leon. So tell us about what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm just cleaning the model file for the currently I'm doing the reset the weapon position and rotation and put it on the world center, and then just check if there's anything wrong with the mesh. And now I'm doing is delete the extra part, because King Leon is a very complex mesh.
Mm-hmm.
So I just delete the some extra part.
Okay.
So what makes them so complex?
Because have lots of parts, like the hand, and the gloves have some pieces on the finger.
The metal armor over the top of
Yes.
his things is about 5 pieces per finger.
Yes, so I need to delete that. It's better for the rigging and for the skin weight mapping. It's very good for start with a very simple model. Currently I just try to make the model simple, as simple as possible.
Now, just to be clear, all this is going back on.
Yes.
But during the rigging process, we don't need the overhead of all those extra bits.
Yeah, just like if we just start with a very simple model, just like before we rigged a normal zombie, that's fine. But for King Leon, it's really need this process. Yeah.
Okay. What's the point of actually putting him at the world centre? What difference does that actually make?
It's generally speaking, just put everything in the world center, and it's easy to find and look. Even in the game engine, you need the rule is you have to put them in the world center to bring them in the into the like Unreal or Unity.
Okay, so that stops any offsets. So if we had them sort of 20 to the right of the world centre, when we bring them in, we've got a big gap from where we think they are in Unity to where they actually are. Yeah.
Yes.
And Unreal. In fact, we're working with Unreal Engine this time, not Unity. Okay.
Yeah, still like cut some lines. Actually, sometimes it's just like we sometimes just create like a box mesh to use that box mesh as a rig mesh, and but because for King Leon is not too skinny,
Mhm.
so it's better to keep the original mesh, and it's better to copy the weight map from the simple mesh to the complex one,
Okay.
like the high polygon one.
I noticed you're actually fixing a couple of polygons there. You were turning the polygons into triangles. Now, is that to do with pipe bending at the
Yeah,
at the joints?
Yes, it's kind of like better. Just like we need to keep all the face like no more than 4 edges.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you do the animations, you will find if you keep a mesh is more than 4 sides,
Yeah.
and it will cause some problem.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah, so I guess one of the other principles that at least I've learned in modelling from my little bit of experience with modelling is the importance of edge loops when you get to elbows and other
Yes.
joints,
Yes,
just
the-
to stop, because what often happens, and you see it in video
Yes.
games sometimes, it's really disturbing, is a character will bend their arm and it will completely flatten out at the bend,
Yes.
and that's called pipe bending.
Yes, fortunately, Sergey is a very good modeler, so we usually, sorry, just after lunch. Yeah, so we can get a very good mesh, have a good how do I say, polygon.
Polygon, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he always will talk to me, and like if he need to add extra line between the 2 lines.
Mhm.
So sometimes I will give some suggestion, and just very good like cooperation for the modeler and to the rigging process. Sometimes you need to discuss about some part, and to get a very good you just interrupt me. So just can like 2 people work together with a separate part, and if you talk more, and you can get the very easy process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are you doing at the back of his head at the moment?
Just fix the holes, because in the high polygon and surgery delays the part we cannot see, so we can save the let the engine better running.
Right, so with his helmet on, you wouldn't see the back of his head, so
Yes.
he didn't necessarily have a back of his
Yeah,
head.
the reason I want to fill the hole is because I need to copy the weight map from this mesh. So if I leave the hole is open,
Mm-hmm.
it will just not quite smoothly to paint the skin weight.
Okay. But of course, we wouldn't be painting a skin weight on the helmet when we've got the helmet back on anyway,
Yes.
because you
Also-
don't want the helmet deforming as he moves
Yeah.
his head.
Also, it's better to just merge all the like 2. If we have to mesh just touched, and it's better to merge the touched vertical together.
Mm-hmm.
It's also better for the rigging process, just like here.
Okay.
Fill this gap.
What was in that gap? I can't remember. Did he have a belt on or something?
Yes, we have a.
He had a belt
we
and a
have
skirt,
a
didn't he?
skirt.
Yeah.
We have a skirt.
How manly.
Is it really called a skirt when it's an armour?
It doesn't sound manly enough, does it?
It's a leather thing that's very manly. It's not
Yeah,
a skirt.
I don't know how to call it.
No, I don't know either. We should know more
yeah,
about armour.
We should. In the meantime, skirt's fine, but funny.
Somebody Google that. What's the skirt called?
Just call it skirt.
Okay. All right. So he's starting to look pretty smooth now with
Yes,
all his extra bits taken off.
yes.
Oh, you haven't taken his bits off. That's awful.
To be fair, he probably never had bits since they were all under the skirt, and we don't model what's not needed.
That's just unfair.
I know.
Really like.
It's like the Hollywood sets, you know, when they make the movie sets. They show the frontages of the street and all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah, what's
They
that
don't
called?
show behind that because there's no, nobody's ever going to
no
see
requirement.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Too sad.
What's it called? I don't know, but there is a reference called the Potemkin Village, which
That's it. That's what I was thinking.
refers to, I think he was a General Potemkin who would take the Tsarina on tours of her country to show how wonderful it was, and they would set up all these villages that were just frontages for her to see and go, oh wow, everybody's doing really well. But in fact, there was nothing behind the frontages.
So this is sort of a Potemkin skirt.
Yeah, well, this is a Potemkin guy, really. We only show the bits that we need to show.
He doesn't have any bits, so you can't show them. Anywho, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. What are we doing now, Linda?
To fix the
No holes in the gloves, yeah.
yeah, but for this one, I was planning to just merge all the mesh together, but then I realized the glove is not quite difficult for the rigging part, so I just leave the finger and the palm part separate, just as the hyperloop model.
Yeah.
Because
part of the gloves won't actually deform with the weight
Yes.
map and part will.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Enough with the Nerf bullets, guys. We're screaming. As you can see, game development is a very serious process where everybody works
it's
very hard.
Just kind of like finish this process.
And then there's Matt. Yeah.
So start to rig.
Okay.
Before the rig, we need to clear the history of the mesh.
Also clear all the previous edits that have gone on, so there's no undo tree essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. And why do we do that? Just because it's too much to carry around?
It's
or?
like just clear all the history. Is one point is for the Maya running fast.
Okay.
Other thing is just like will cause some like problems, but for me I just in order to just speed up the Maya's speed.
Okay.
Just like sometimes if you keep a long history, then your mind is just running really slow like a snail.
Okay. So every now and then you have to do a cleanup.
Yes.
And I suppose you do that cleanup when you're satisfied. You're never going to have to undo.
Yes.
But presumably you've already saved a thing into the repository at that
Yeah.
time.
Now just like pose all the joint to the right position.
Okay, so this is with using the human IK
Yes.
model that's in Maya.
Yes. This one is Maya's function, and it's quite convenient. Just like when you do the reposition or the joints, you are not going to pose it in the you have to pose it in the top view and the front view, so
Okay.
it will not go to any other wrong place.
Oh, okay, because we can see that there. You've posed them in the top view, but when we
Yeah.
look from the side, there's
Bones are
this-
sticking out of his gauntlet.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
I love what you can do with this.
Yeah, so now we're getting them down into position so they match the fingers from
That's a good idea,
the
isn't it?
second point of view, which is
Yeah.
good.
Oh, I really hope I can just using this speed to do my job.
Man, that would be so nice if I only had to pay people a quarter of their salary, or for the same, pay them their salary for 4 times the work. That'd be great.
Yeah.
It's just like without any sort and doubles, just like.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
You're a
not
machine, Linda.
I'm
Look
not
how
machine.
This is Linda, everybody. Don't poach her. She really is that fast. Look.
Thank you.
Sergi was that fast too, wasn't he? 6 times.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Sergi's lightning speed.
Superman.
Super Sergi. And Lightning Linda. Oh God.
There you are. You've just created
Oh.
2 superheroes. Now the game has to be made. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, just like
Oh, so we
human
can see his
IK,
skirt and his.
Human IK just creates a basic bond
Mhm.
for the model, but we need to create like extra bonds, extra joints just for the what's this part called?
Yes, so that his cape can
Yeah,
actually
cape.
flap and
Yes.
yeah, and his skirt will move with his legs and so
Yes,
forth. Yeah.
and I also remember I ate another joint for the hat. for the
Helmet,
helmet.
yeah.
Helmet.
Yeah, you can't call that a hat.
Yes. Actually, I was renaming it as a hat. Then I thought, oh, it's not a hat. Then I just changed the name as a helmet.
It's a category of hat.
That's a jaw.
Okay, so he can
Jaw
talk to us.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh.
And all the so that doesn't actually take much of a rig to do the talking,
Yes.
unless you're close up on the mouth, right? And then you've actually got to put bones on the lips as well.
Yeah. Should we?
But generally, this is just done with weight mapping the skin. We actually
Yes. Are we going to do the talking animation for him?
well, yes, he'll be talking, but basically, because he's a zombie and all his
Yeah.
skin is desiccated, he doesn't get to move his lips and all that
that's
sort of
good.
stuff. Yeah.
I
It's
don't
just the
need
jaw
to add
opening and
other
closing.
things to the lips.
No.
Yeah, just like
What a beautiful character.
He is a beautiful character. He's
Beautiful
well done,
geometry.
Sergi.
Little plug for Sergi.
and this joint is just for the shoulder armor. I just I can't read the name because I didn't know the name. I just googled the picture and renamed it.
Okay. So what was the picture?
Just the armor part name.
Oh yeah. So the pauldrons are the part on the shoulder. I know that
Yes.
part. Gauntlets are the gloves.
Yes.
I don't know what you call the little shield pieces that go over the fingers and things like that.
Yes,
They are a bit of a mystery to me. But
I add this part is because if we just rig or skin it at like shoulder with the shoulder part, but because the shoulder is sometimes will have like some ankle and it will have some mesh cross problem. Like this part will go into the mesh.
yeah.
So I need to create another part so I could just do some little adjustment.
Yeah, that's a common problem you've seen in video games clipping, when two bits of the model intersect each other and they cut through each other, or where they intersect another object. In
Yes.
fact, so this is all about trying to avoid clipping.
Yes, and also for this part is it's a hard body part, so we are not necessary to sign like a soften this part because all of this part is like mental. So all the skin weight I just assign all the verticals to this joint as the right set as 1, 2, so it will just follow this joint. I'm thinking maybe sometimes when the character is walking and this arm will just have some slightly just how can I say
A little bit of movement with it. Yeah.
a little bit of movement, so I need to create another joint to do the animation.
It's something people don't appreciate when they're animating is when anything moves in a model, generally everything's moving a certain amount. So if you're walking, your shoulders are actually moving,
Yes.
your clothing's moving, of course all the stuff that's happening with your knees and your hips is actually deforming everything that's happening with your body. So for natural movement, you've got to have the body rigged so that all sorts of parts can actually move, and the pauldrons in this case, when you're actually moving your arms, are going to move. In fact, even when you're walking and your arms are not moving that much, they're going to move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing the skin weight painting. Like the white part, the right is 1, and the black part means the black color means 0. So 0 means this part are not going to affect by this joint,
Okay.
and the white part means they are going with this joint.
So it's a little bit, it's a mask,
Yes.
essentially.
So
Cool.
black is not affected,
clever.
and white.
I have moments.
Black is not affected and white is affected.
Yes.
And they are painted for each joint, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a mask for movement. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like doing this part is kind of like you need a lot of patience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Unless you do it 6 times as fast, like we are now.
Because how many joints would be in that body? There must be 60, 70 joints in there?
Yeah, just follow that joint tree in the on the left. That list.
Do we know how many joints are actually in there?
For this character, like 100.
100. Okay, yeah, I guess because there are those pauldron pieces and finger pieces and all the rest of it, or the skirt and all the rest of it that got more bones outside the skeleton. So outside of the human IK model.
Yes.
So yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, if we
There'd normally be 70, wouldn't there, in a human IK model? Yeah.
Normally just 70, but if you like, you want to add some like some joints for the hair or for the like long dress, it will be a lot.
Yeah, I remember a big discussion on it. This is many years ago now when they released Tomb Raider, and Lara Croft was a big advance because what they did was they put bones in her hair so that her ponytail could actually move, and that was sort of a big advance for gaming at the time, that moving ponytail.
Yeah.
Now we do that sort of thing all the time.
I don't know if we can do the like a physical in the Unreal for the like skirt or the cover, the back part.
The cape. Yeah.
Yeah, cape. I'm not sure if we can do it in the Unreal, but if we want to animate it, that's a nightmare.
Well, that's going to be fun then.
Yeah, you can
We
see.
probably can, and nightmare is more a matter of timing than anything else. So if you've got an hour to do it, then it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
If you've got a fortnight to do it, it's less of a nightmare.
Just in case we cannot get a very good result in Unreal, so currently you can see that in the that long joints, like 8 joints. But then I changed my mind. I changed it like just 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So what
That's
we're
probably
looking
all
at
that's
there,
needed.
that keeps coming up, does it say component editor? So what is that? Because I'm guessing that, well, I don't know what it is, and I'm guessing that not everybody else who's watching will.
Oh yes, it's like for the skin weight paint. Normally we use 2 ways, but I think lots of people just using one way. Is just like paint the white and the black color. But sometimes I prefer to choose those verticals and then open a like component editor to find those values, and I can see directly what's the value for every verticals. Like for those kind of parts, I just delete or set all the joint value to 0 if I don't need that joint.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's doing calisthenics now. I just saw him doing his side flexing.
Because when you paint it, it's easy to see just really white or really dark, but in the middle, just like very light gray, you cannot see it. So if you just see the values, it's easier.
Yep.
So
Well,
easy
it's
to
like
pull up
MIDI.
the component editor and
Yes.
change the
Oh,
values.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, still like.
So he's quite flexible for an old dude because he's 600 years plus and dead for most of that.
Well, he's got not much holding him back though, does he?
True.
True.
And who
True, not
the
a lot of
fuck
body fat
knows
at
what's
this
holding him together at this point in any case.
Just his spirit, basically.
There we go. Well, why would you come back as something all crusty and stiff if you could come back all flexy and,
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting because we need this range of motion for when he's doing sword play and things like that. He also has quite natural walk rather than most of the zombies.
Yep.
He's going to walk more like a human.
About the skin weight painting, the most hard part, I suppose, it should be the like shoulder and with the chest, like this part. because it's not just simply by two affected by two joints. It's kind of like 3 or 4 more. So you need to really carefully about this part.
Oh yes, because imagine for every arm movement, it's going to have an effect on that chest, and every time you bend, it's going to have an effect on the chest. So, and there are just 3 joints I can see going up the spine there that'll affect it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So normally I just firstly I will do this part first, then I will do other place. Just make me happier.
Oh yeah.
Look at him go.
Yeah. The
Oh, fantastic.
That motion needed because he will take the occasional hit, so he will have to move his head backwards and forwards. So
Yes.
He's quite a nice character, just like that, really. Quite like the look of him.
He does. Essentially, we want to make sure that he can do the full range of movement that we require in animation. So, and it's surprising, no matter how much flexibility you give these guys, not much is wasted when it comes down to actually doing animations. If you're using natural reference in particular, if you look at the way people move, the movement always requires a lot more than you think. There's a lot more muscles actually involved in any simple movement that you're doing, and a lot more things are affected. So to look natural, you've got to have a really full range of movement and an almost human skeleton, which is what you see with human IK.
Yeah. You just see these some minutes before. It's just like I set all the value to the jaw. One is just like I give all the vertical part will follow to the jaw, just like when you choose the teeth, because teeth cannot just smoothly as the muscles, so just easily to go to the component editor to set all the right.
Okay, so that's a good use for the component editor.
Yes, I
situations
really
like that.
it. Yeah, I didn't know this part before, and then when I learned in the school, and I didn't learn this part. Then when I go to my first workplace, and they are using the 3ds Max, they are kind of like similar this function. So I'm quite like to using that one. Then after I back to Maya, and I'm thinking, oh, that's so difficult to resolve. Then I just search this kind of things. Then they told me, oh, there's something really good, just same as 3ds Max. Yeah, I think it's very useful.
Okay. I guess one of the things about using the component editor is over such a wide area is you will lose some subtlety in the thing, because you'll tend to set a single range of values rather than all the things that would show up as grey on that.
Yes, so it's just for like eyeball or teeth or some else like your if you select your left leg's verticals and you don't want to effect with the right leg joints, so you just go to that right leg joint, that part, and select all the value and set to 0, then it will clear.
So it has very specific uses.
Yes. You cannot select all the verticals one by one.
No.
Yes, it's just like yeah, he is not a good sleep.
He's a little twitchy, sort of Tourette zombie.
Yeah, he is my favourite character in the game, King Leon. So I'm really hoping that we're going to ensure that he really does shine when we're actually got him in there doing stuff.
No pressure, Linda.
So lots of opportunities for animations. And he's exactly the sort of character that you might actually bring back in a sequel as well to keep him around. After all, he is a zombie, so he's not going to die forever, even if he dies. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking about should we do any like the general zombie we do the death just by the red door. How about the King Leon?
About
King Leon about when he died.
yeah.
So should we just animate by hand or create it in the Unreal?
Yes. No. We'll probably have a cutscene with his death. So it'll be dramatic. So we won't just because I get what you're saying. Most of the zombies we've got are going to rely on ragdoll physics when they die.
Yes,
so
yes.
they're all connected. They're all using animations right up to the point where they get that lethal hit, and then ragdoll physics will take over and they'll just collapse. But this guy, because it's it's a very dramatic moment in the game, will probably actually, once he has that lethal hit, will probably take control with a cutscene and actually do something very dramatic with him.
Yes.
Which will be awesome. Alright. So he's looking a bit shocked there, Linda.
No, he's saying awesome.
Awesome.
He's very Spider-Man.
So we need a lot of animation.
Yeah, okay, so there's the jaw. And that's pretty much the only range of motion he's going to have. We could do some side to side, I suppose, animation, but for the most part it's just opening and closing. He's covered in dry skin, he has no lips, and somehow mysteriously the bones of his skull have deformed to become eyebrows. But again, as I pointed out the other day.
Not only that, but with no muscles, ligaments or tendons, he's still able to get around and move and
Let's not
hold himself up.
poke the bear there. You're giving away all the...
I'm thinking
it's quite obvious.
if we need to add another joint for the eyeball.
How much? He's got volume to those eyes, so maybe we do need to.
Okay, but it's fine. Just add one joint.
I like
It's
how
easy.
nothing's a problem. I just say, yeah, we'll do that horrendously difficult thing, and you go, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, some pipe bending at the knee there. No, it's actually not too bad. A little bit. Painting some extra. So this is how you're actually checking on those weights. So you make the movement
Yes.
and then see what bends which way.
Yes.
So you can adjust
Just do the very dramatic pose.
Yeah. Yeah, so he'd probably never do this movement exactly in the game, but
Yes.
yeah, this is the outer limit of what we'd be expecting him to do. So
Actually, for those videos, I just sent you the first rig for the King Leon. Actually, I changed it a little bit, but I forgot to cast it.
you forgot to what?
Oh, forgot to record it.
I forgot to record it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, that's an awkward
Oh,
cut.
yeah, that's... Oh, yeah. Significant thigh gap, you can bet, there when he puts that leg
Well,
down.
that's the
And on the
least of his
outside.
problems.
Yeah, that's
Doing a bit of a Jean-Claude
we
Van
can-
Damme there.
that position. We can never do that.
It's an interesting
Sometimes.
view.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem in there. Yep.
Yeah, this part is also difficult.
Yeah, but this is a lot of what the work is, isn't it? Once you've actually got it rigged, is actually doing those
Yes.
skin weights, essentially, to see how much each polygon of skin actually moves with the joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, And it's
Like
it's
a
not just a
dancer.
science. There's a bit of an art to it as well, which is why it's undertaken by artists, I guess.
That foot looks unhealthy.
Yeah, I've had a terrible accident. Yeah.
There's a reason that you can't really do that properly, is because no human is meant to do that.
Okay.
For this one, we just do the rig for
Well, the
the
work's all done. So.
game character. So we normally not set lots of joint to control it, but for like those animation film, and they will normally do lots of joints for the like ankle, for the knee or for the hips part, to get a well blend effect for that part. Even sometimes we'll use blend shape to create a realistic looking.
So do you want to explain what blend shapes are?
Blend shape is to create another mesh and make some changes. For example, just like for this character, like King Leon, if we don't set the joint for the jaw, and we can create another mesh called jaw open, then we using another mesh to create to open his jaw and link some node to the original mesh, then change the value 0 to 1, and then you can see his jaw is opened.
Yeah.
His mouth is open.
And it's called blend shape because we're going to blend essentially between the jaw open and
Yes.
jaw closed, so
Yes.
we can
And
get all the range of movements in between.
yes, like we can also create another like smile. If you create a smile but your mouth is not open, and you set all the like both jaw open and another one is smile, and then in the original mesh will show an open big smile.
Okay.
Cool.
So we're doing a little toe pointing with him here.
Yeah.
This is for any ballet moves he's got in the game. Oh.
Well, that's unfortunate. Looks like his little hooves have had a nasty accident.
Yes, that's that. Tried to kick the cat and hit the corner of the wall or something.
Oh, fuck.
Have you ever done one of those? Extremely painful, especially first thing in the morning.
What,
You
kicked
get
the
up.
cat and broken my foot?
No, not kick
I
the
really
cat.
haven't.
But I can remember one that I had to sit down afterwards, but I was coming. I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and then coming back in, I misjudged the doorway,
Oh,
and I
God.
kicked my big toe against the doorway. Oh my God! Waves of nausea from how bad that actually felt.
Yep, that'll make your eyes water.
It certainly did. But yes, he did. His toe was not looking well there, but his hand, on the other hand, looks great. So this is the range of movement we can expect from his hand. So hopefully everybody's getting a
looks fairly
feel
normal.
for how that, the white and blacks and greys, what they actually mean in terms of how much the skin actually deforms in response to the joint. I think when you're showing
Oh,
this
what a
stage,
lovely
it's
way
really.
of putting it.
Thank you.
I
went to
understood that, and yeah. I hardly didn't get no education.
I learnt conversational stuff all the time. Yeah, mostly English. It was Australia though, so some of it was
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
swearing.
I choose all the verticals for the glow part.
Okay,
and
so this
then
is the
will-
list of vertices, right?
Yeah, I will delete all the joints part I don't need.
Okay. So what parts didn't you need?
Just like the finger have 4 joints, and then I will delete joints 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
because they are too far away, cannot affect the palm part.
Ah, right. So that's not deleting the joints entirely. That's
it's-
deleting them from that particular weight weight map.
I mean, it's deleting the value for that joint.
Yeah, got that. Right.
Especially when you see later, when you see I'm doing the finger part,
Mhm.
it's very easy to see how I do that.
Yeah. So essentially, any skin, if you're moving this area of your finger,
Mm-hmm.
it can affect all the way down there, but it's unlikely to affect up here.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you would delete this joint,
Yes.
if I'm actually showing that on the screen, this joint from the skin weights for this joint.
Yes.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be affected. None of this would be affected.
Yeah.
Now that may not have been phrased as eloquently as previously.
It wasn't quite as good, but
I
it-
even confused
it was
myself
adequate.
there talking about it.
It was adequate.
Adequate is good. Adequate's on the continuum from
See, it's another
balls up to
stupid word like
excellent.
reticule.
reticule's not a
It
stupid
is a
word.
ridiculous word. Reticule's a horrible word.
It's a
Adequate's a stupid word too.
Why is adequate a stupid
I don't
word?
know. It just is.
I would have thought adequate was adequate for describing what it is,
Ooh.
and reticule is adequate for describing what it is.
That's an awful word.
Okay, so we're deleting some more here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for this one, it's because I didn't merge those two, touched vertical together, so I have to copy this vertical weight to another one, so they could share same value. And then when we move the joints here, then this will not appear the gap between the two pieces.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. I thought of something when you were talking, and then it's evaporated when I. One of the other reasons for removing the things that aren't being affected is performance. So there's going to be a performance hit if you carry with you all the stuff that you don't need in those things, because the system will try to calculate even
Yes.
if the thing's not going to be affected. So for everything you can delete, the better the character actually responds, or the less processing it actually needs. So, and I guess that's one of the things that between a good modeler and animator is just that you learn to appreciate is just how much they can actually cut down on the amount of processing, because naturally they're always trying to remove things that aren't being used.
Yeah.
So his little claw hand is coming to life.
Yeah, and it's looking very natural, isn't it? Well, it's looking like a jellyfish at the moment.
Yep, totally natural.
But a natural jellyfish.
yeah. You can see the bones inside, so carefully placed before.
It's marvellous looking at this display, though. It looks so technical, doesn't it? The
It does,
display
yeah.
of bones and
Yeah.
weights and all the
Looks
rest
real.
of it together.
Real.
He does that in the game, doesn't he? Oh, you.
You. Doesn't look like a powerful move, does it? You, come here.
All right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I just very sick of to paint all the finger joints affect the palm parts, so I just delete all the finger
Good
or
idea.
delete all the finger right parts. Then I will add later.
yeah.
So you can isolate one thing right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Now just select one finger.
Is that the thumb? Trying to work out what we're looking at. Is that a
Yes,
thumb or a
thumb.
finger? That's the thumb. Okay, cool. So I guess he gets to use this because he does grip his sword. That's the thing. So a full range of finger motion there. Might point out that depending on what the game is, you might actually not animate fingers separately at all. In some games, the whole bunch of fingers might actually move together,
Yes.
and therefore only have 3 bones controlling all the fingers.
Yes.
You could do the old-fashioned cartoon way and only have 3 fingers.
Yes, yes.
Actually, I think for our general zombie, we could sit just using one finger to control the other 4, but we didn't. So just
So we've got full finger motion in all the zombies.
yes. Actually, we didn't do much animation for the finger part.
Okay.
Yeah. Firstly, I separate all the finger using the own joints to control the all fingers. Is because when we do the model, we didn't do a special pose like a zombie hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to just using that joints to create a zombie hand feeling.
Okay. So what's a zombie hand feeling?
Just like that.
Oh, right, okay. They do that.
Just like that.
That's
What?
more witchy,
Why?
though, isn't it? Wouldn't that be witchy more than zombie? Yeah, exactly.
No, that's more death grip.
Death grip. Darth Vader-ish.
Yeah, that's very death grip.
Okay. So now we're putting his clothes back on, making him look respectable. What's going on there?
Oh, now I will just finish the simple part, the simple polygon part. So I just
Teach him a little dance.
So I just bring the final mesh, the high polygon mesh here, and copy all the skin weight to this one, and then just fix some parts for it because I'm just like this part.
So when you say the high polygon mesh, so we're copying it back to the original millions of polygons
Yes,
mesh.
this
Okay.
function is you could copy from this one to that one, but you need to keep 2 mesh in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I guess it's important to animate the high poly mesh because we might be using that for cutscenes and so forth. In fact, we will be using that for cutscenes. So, yeah, of course, that's where the rigging has got to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you then copy it separately to the low poly mesh, or is the high poly mesh?
They are just combined together, so I just copied the skin weight from the low poly mesh to here. Actually, I'm the low poly mesh. I mean, just like before, we just delete those armor part. I delete this skirt and also delete the glove pieces part. Then for this one, it's just like we have all the armors here, so we need to we copy the skin weight from the low polygon mesh, but still we need to check the values here. Just like the shoulder part, we need to set all the weight to 1 to the.
Oh yes, and we can see there. So those polygons are not moving.
Yes.
But the arm and the underlying
Yeah, you can see here it's
thing
blending.
is actually moving. Yeah.
And then after we set it as 1, and then it will not blend anymore. It's just like a mental mesh. Heart.
Okay. Right. So if he moves his arm up far enough, it does actually
Yes.
move a little bit,
Yes.
but it doesn't bend or deflect. It moves as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's because it's actually got its own bone there, which I think you can see in the shoulder. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's rather beautiful like that.
Why let
Don't
me
you think?
think about chicken?
He does look funny doing it armless though. Like, calisthenics for the amputee. Zombie.
Calisthenics for the amputee.
Amputee zombie. He's got
That's
no arms.
one of the least PC things I've heard today.
Oh, that's not right. I'm very PC.
No, you're right, actually. I've heard way, way, way less PC things from you today.
Not here though.
I don't see why not.
No, I don't think I've said anything particularly
You've become
un-PC.
shy, uncharacteristically shy.
Yeah, I'm shy on camera, basically. That's my thing. Oh, hold on, we've got comments. We haven't been watching. What does it actually say?
You're so good.
Hello. Oh, Ramstein said we're so good, or maybe they're talking about Enter Dreamland, whose first comment was in there that said so good. I don't know. One of us is so good.
Well, that's lovely.
Excellent.
That's all very positive.
Yeah, actually, it's really nice seeing the comments that we occasionally get on here and YouTube about these videos when we're actually showing one of the processes. That
Yes.
People really do enjoy finding out about this stuff. I guess it's all a bit of a mystery when you're playing the game and watching the game. But
And also, we'd like to know more about what people would like to see.
Yeah.
would you? I think just feed them what we've got. Make no extra effort.
Wow. Okay, now you're starting to.
No,
Now you're breaking up. Now you're opening up.
we do go to some effort
Hello,
to actually
there's
put
the
these
Australian.
things together. See, normally we wouldn't have people recording their desktops as they're working. This is specifically about making sure we've got some high quality stuff to
It's
actually
ensuring we
stream.
can keep an eye on them. We don't trust them generally. It's a subtle way of spying.
That's when we put the camera behind their desk. That's a. Although we've stopped doing that now, so we're mostly doing screen recording because people were just getting too shy when we set up a camera behind their desk.
And also, we
So
didn't
if you
get a
remember our-
really good view.
Yeah,
Got a great view of the back of somebody's head. That was thrilling. Oh, and also us moving furniture. Very useful, very instructional.
true. Some of that stuff was a bit
Everyone
wasted.
wanted to see that.
But the screen recording's working really well. We get some complex stuff here. So we're doing this stage again, Linda. What's actually happening here?
Fix the belt.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the belt I can see is clipping at his
Yes.
thigh there. That's the issue.
Yeah. And
Right. So yeah. So everybody can see what the clipping does there. So the belt was actually going into the thigh, which is not what we want to see when we are actually playing this character.
It's probably
Yes.
why he's got no bits.
Yes. Currently, I just pan the skin weight and for the skirt and make them follow as the legs. Actually, I have another rig for him. Is I add extra bones around the skirt, so we can actually control the skirt separately, and they can. When he's moving, and the skirt could have smoothly around the leg, not like as this one. If you go to the back part, you could see just very stretch out for the two lines.
Okay. Hey, would somebody that's perhaps a Dungeons and Dragons player out there let us know what you actually call that leather skirt that he's wearing? I know there's probably a name for it that isn't skirt, but we don't know. I played D&D and I remember a few things, but there's some things that just I don't attend to. Like, what are those things called on the fingers as well?
Well, he's looking very balletic.
Maybe just skirt.
Yeah, maybe just skirt.
I'm going to be very
I guarantee you there's some complicated name for it though. Oh, broken ankle. Oh,
Yeah, I just do a test where before I do this, I just saved the file just in case I don't like it. Just
Okay.
so I just delete that part and get the old file back.
so it's really quite difficult, isn't it, to make a human look real when you're working with so few bones, because there's so much more to the inside of an ankle than that simple joint.
Yeah, actually for this, should I call boot? Because it's kind of like also a mental feeling shoes or boot. So when I do this part, I was thinking about the lower part and the leg part actually is like two piece. But when I try to make this as a very hard mesh, just like mental mesh, then I feel just very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I just treat as a normal people, just like a little bit blend with these two parts together, just in this part, yes.
Okay.
So it's really hard to decide how could we treat it. But if we want to make those kind of feeling, we might to need create another extra bone for this part to make the rotating and make the shoes part and the leg part blend smoothly.
Yep.
But for the game, we can only think about maybe do as simple as we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're looking for the best compromise, aren't you?
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
It is rather funny watching him toe tap there. It was like doing the side kicks earlier.
Oh, the side kicks were marvellous.
Yeah. All right, so it's one of the things you should do next week. We should get you back on, and you should tell us all the parts of the armour that we're unable to name today.
Little research project.
I think it's a research task that we need to do. Yeah, forgive me, I should know, having played all sorts of games where there's medieval aspects to it.
I remember when I do the metaphorical project, it's really hard to read those like sometimes our customer send our email and it's so hard to me to read those special words.
Yeah, I guess, because one of the things people out there may not know is we do actually work for other people as well, and not just people that make games. So occasionally we get specialists like doctors or whatever, and they actually have their own vocabulary of things that are extremely difficult for us to decode necessarily when we're trying to work things out.
The fun part is I thought it's because I'm English is my second language, so I thought
really.
So I asked who is that? I couldn't remember it's Matt or other people. I asked him what's his meaning, and he said, I don't know.
If it was Matt, he probably said no fucking idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're not alone.
All right.
So we've got a few minutes left.
At the moment, he's being posed to do this.
Yeah, the finger, that's glove piece part.
We haven't. The movie gives us our timing.
Just saying.
Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes left.
Oh, that's so fast.
Yeah, I know. Basically, an hour goes. If you've
Look
got
how
content.
quick your day went. I don't know why you took a day over it when clearly you could have done it in an hour.
I won't tell you, actually I spent like 16 hours.
Well done on the not telling.
Those are just a part of them.
Yeah. So this is one of the things with actually getting people to record their desktops is they will not record their whole day.
Yeah.
So as one of our developers so eloquently put it, he likes his privacy. So that makes me very curious to see what he's doing.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
He slapped the zombie's face.
Oh, wow.
So actually we've probably got a few minutes more than 4 minutes of video left because we had about 5 minutes of talking before we started. So just to get to the end of the video, we may run over a little bit.
Yeah, I like this one,
Yeah. Yeah, back to the jellyfish fingers.
I just posed. Okay. You did very good.
Yeah.
We do have to stop reasonably on time. We do have another meeting.
We do?
Hate to stop this, but yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. What time's our other meeting?
After this.
Straight after? Oh, okay.
Oh, you have a busy day.
Yeah.
The days do
Followed
tend
by
to be
another
busy
meeting.
these days. We have 2 more meetings this afternoon.
Wow.
So yeah, if you're in video game development and you're basically one of the execs, you just tend to spend a lot of time having meetings.
But they are okay because they normally mean work.
We have the fun
Money,
meetings,
I should
which
say.
the fun meetings tend to be with staff because they tend to be about things like level design and level development and
Weird fingers.
yeah, and actually reviewing work that's been done and editing the game design document and things like that. So they are the really fun meetings because those are the meetings that creative stuff happens. And then there's Yeah, there's exec-only meetings, which always tend to be about cash flow, one way or another.
They're not so fun.
Yeah, they're less fun, and they're often done with spreadsheets. So much of your time is spent trying to familiarise yourself with some aspect of a spreadsheet. And then there's meetings with clients, which can also be creative. So I guess they're the second level of fun, because you're usually talking about somebody else's problem and how you would solve it. So in their own right, they do tend to be creative meetings.
Well, this is going to be the second level of fun, but we'd better wrap this up. So
I
that
guess
we can
we'd
get to
better.
the second level of fun. This has been the first level of fun. We're going to move down the scale now to the second level of fun, nonetheless.
So there's anything you want to say to carry us out of this, Linda? What should we...
I think it's close to finish. Yeah, just because I changed my plan, so unfortunately I can't show you that process unless Brook want me to do it again.
That's a no.
Yeah, I guess no.
We do the processes only once, and as much as we'd sacrifice stuff for Twitch, we won't be spending thousands of dollars redoing.
Yeah, but we can show, maybe next time we can show what's the difference between this one and another, the rig 2.0.
Oh, yes. All right, yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
Okay,
This one is version 1 and another one is version 2.
Okay. So we'll catch you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. in New Zealand time. So this is Brook and Margaret and Linda, finishing our talk on rigging, which is the first step in animating.
Frigging and the rigging was that happy little tune I was thinking of at the beginning.
Oh, right, okay. By who?
Sex Pistols.
Oh, those guys.
Good lord.
Not my cup of tea, Sex Pistols. All right, so thank you, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you the same time tomorrow.
See you.
All right. And as usual, I'll just fumble around trying to switch it off.
We should place